Top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good day, welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. Let's get to the news in detail. Cargoes to Europe averaged 110,000 barrels per day from January through early September, according to Refinitiv Icon tanker tracking data, more than the entire daily volume shipped to all destinations in 2021. The shipments grew as Guyana's second floating production, storage and offloading facility began pumping this year. Oil producers in Guyana this year have boosted exports to European buyers seeking alternatives to Russian crude, according to vessel monitoring data. Government bans on Russian oil since the invasion of Ukraine have spurred demand for alternative crudes, and Guyanese oil fits refiners from Britain to Italy better than rival Latin American grades do. So far this year, 49% of Guyana's total oil exports have headed for Europe. And though the Guyana government has indicated its desire for the expeditious development and production of the Stabroek Block's hydrocarbons, those in charge of the operations must also do so with the strictest adherence to the nation's environmental rules. Sharing this perspective with investors on Thursday was Chief Executive Officer of Hess Corporation, John Hess, during his participation at Barclays CEO Energy Power Conference in New York. Hess was keen to note that the government has been very pro-business, adding that the only way to develop the economy and improve the standard of living for the people of Guyana is to accelerate the development of their resources. And in other news, out of its $21 billion budgetary allocation, the Ministry of Home Affairs is spent approximately $11 billion to ensure the safety and security of the public, so said the Ministry of Finance in its mid-year report. The report was released by the Ministry of Finance last weekend. It detailed the performance of the economy in the first half of the year. The Ghana Police Force, an agency under the Ministry of Home Affairs, the report stated, expended in just half a year $7.9 billion in strengthening its operations. And in other news, Britain's Queen Elizabeth II died on Thursday at the age of 96, ending a generation-spanning 7-decade reign that made her a beacon of stability in the tumultuous world. Her son, King Charles III, has ascended to the throne and is at Buckingham Palace in London after spending Thursday evening at Balmoral Castle in Scotland. He's expected to address the nation later. The UK has entered a period of official mourning, with formal gun salutes to the Queen ringing out and tributes from around the world flooding in, the BBC has reported. And let's tell you, the still-to-be-established Petroleum Commission, some 7 years after Guyana would have announced crude in commercial quantity, could present an added layer of protection against unscrupulous oil spending, thus providing Guyana with increased oversight of oil operations expenditure. This was made clear in the 2017 Petroleum Commission bill, which was tabled in the last parliament by the former APNU-AFC government ahead of a no-confidence motion that caused the early dissolution of parliament and the eventual death of the law governing the semi-autonomous agency. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. The time is now 12 hours 5 in Guyana. We'll take a short break and return with your news.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues, immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Not a single bar of service.
Not with us. Digicel officially has the best mobile coverage in Guyana, be it in Aishalton or in Etteringban. We got you covered. Digicel, better together.
It seems like children have been home from school forever, and you've done baking, drawing, schoolwork, and played Ring of Roses about 100 times. We've all been under some strain lately, but let us embrace our children. They're under strain too. Let's show them more love, patience, and care. Let's help to build their resilience in these trying times. Not just today or tomorrow, but for the future. Their future.
A message from the Child Care and Protection Agency, Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, and UNICEF.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. Over 200 households at Providence, East Coast Demerara, were affected when the sluice door collapsed early Thursday morning, causing massive flooding in the community. The door collapsed at approximately 2 hours after developing a breach, resulting in flooding in some parts of the area, the Ministry of Agriculture said. Minister Mustafa explained that the door collapsed as a result of the tide and that engineers from the NDIA were on site working to address the situation and bring relief to those affected. Meanwhile, the United States government, through the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID, has announced an additional $22.8 million in new funding for 2022 to support Caribbean regional development goals related to climate resilience, youth security, information and communication technology, private sector management, and health. The funding also includes $10 million to combat food insecurity in the Caribbean to support priority areas identified by CARICOM under President Biden's Caribbean Zero Hunger Plan. The announcement coincides with the joint USAID and CARICOM annual review of mutual objectives and priorities concluded on September 1st. And a new report by London-based energy and climate finance think tank Influence Map revealed that 5 major oil companies, including ExxonMobil, have been spending tens of millions publicizing and portraying themselves as being climate friendly. But in reality, only a small chunk of their investments goes into low-carbon development. The report cited Exxon, British oil company, Royal Dutch Shell, Chevron, and Total Energies. It said the companies spend $750 million a year polishing their climate credentials. Giving a breakdown of the green PR made by the oil companies compared to what they actually invested in low-carbon activities, Influence Map revealed that ExxonMobil made green claims in 70% of its communications, while devoting a mere 8% of capital expenditure to low carbon. And President Ali on Wednesday said the time has not come as yet for him to appoint a substantive Chancellor and Chief Justice. Currently, Yonit Cummings Edwards is the acting Chancellor and Roxanne George Wiltshire is the Chief Justice. The Constitution mandates consultation and agreement between the President and Leader of the Opposition on the 2 top judicial posts. Opposition Leader Aubrey Norton has already indicated his full support for the 2 judges acting in the positions to be confirmed. And President of the Guyana Teachers Union, Mark Light, said teachers in this country are being treated as third-class citizens, even as he warned the government of a more robust representation of the educators this year. In a video statement on the reopening of schools, the GTU president promised to address decade-old problems confronting teachers. He said teachers are being treated as third-class citizens in Guyana, and it is time that school administrators and teachers take a stand and send a clear message, making reference to what he termed acts of discrimination against teachers. And it is time, as usual, we turn the pages of today's Kaieteur News to page 7, dedicated to being blunt. Queen Elizabeth II, like Horatio Nelson, as British as they come. Queen Elizabeth II is gone from this green sward, this England that she loved so much and served so well. The applause and accolades will rise to the ramparts from her own. But as beloved a figure as she was at home, the peoples from exploited Africa and Asia and this Caribbean region do well to remember the policies and programs carried out by her people for Queen and country. The Queen was Elizabeth II. As her society grew rich, it was on the backs of those bent under the sun that never set on the British Empire, and from the streams of wealth from exploited third world societies that enriched her palaces, her people, and both their prosperities. Those were at the expense of impoverished and exploited colored peoples. Elizabeth II was as arch-imperialist and arch-colonialist as the best of those prior to her, and those of her own time. Though lacking real power, she possessed the aura of stature, which is part of the mystique of the British monarchy. Despite all of our hurts, we still retained a soft spot for Queen Elizabeth II, with many Guyanese holding her dear. And that wraps things up for today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
Let's vibe,